Hey y'all, it's your girl Shamika, and I am so glad that you are back here on my channel. If you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe and then tap that bell icon if you want to be notified anytime I upload a video, which is once a week right now because I'm booked and busy and I don't have time to record a whole bunch of stuff. But I still want to make sure I'm bringing you guys some amazing content. And speaking of content, I am super excited about today's vlog. I know y'all are like, girl, you say that every single week. Okay, well, this week is a little different because I love doing interviews on this channel. So today I do have an interview with someone that you guys are familiar with. You know this man. If you've heard him on, let's see, you've heard him on the Deliver Us from Eva soundtrack. You've heard him on a song with Angie Stone called More Than a Woman. You've heard Charlie Wilson's song, There Goes My Baby. You know, he's got some writing skills too. So I am so excited. Joining me today, you know him as the Soul Prince, and I know him as one of my friends, Mr. Calvin Richardson. Welcome to the Mofo Chronicles, Calvin.
Thank you for having me. What's going on?
Not much. First, I have to congratulate you on being inducted into the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame last year. So, I mean, yay! So being from Monroe, like, tell me a little bit about how that, like, what was that experience like being inducted into, like, your home state, like the Hall of Fame?
I mean, I think that's probably is to date probably one of the most memorable events that has occurred, you know, in my career. Like, really, like, everybody knows that I love the Carolinas. I really do. I love coming home. I love being home, and, you know, to be recognized by, you know, the Hall of Fame and be inducted into it, you know what I mean? That was big for me because, you know, like, you know, I've been nominated for Grammys a number of times, right? You know, I would have been, even if I had gotten the Grammy, this was bigger than that for me because, you know what I'm saying, just the North Carolina, you know, being in that group, the Hall of Fame. I'm a Hall of Famer now, so, you know, whatever with everything else, you know?
You need a t-shirt that says I'm a Hall of Famer.
I'm a Hall of Famer, right? Exactly. Exactly.
So I was telling, well, actually, maybe I told Twitter, but so you just dropped your 8th studio album Friday, October 25th.
Yeah.
Which is exciting because now, what does that put you? 2 decades into the game at this point, or a little over?
Nah, not a little over. Just 2 decades.
I'm trying to age you like you.
September the 9th actually made 20 years that I've been in the business since my first album came out. So.
Oh, well, see, it's a bit like two decades in a month.
A little bit. Okay, a little bit.
Okay. So the album is called Gold Dust. And so I know that when I spoke to you 2017, the last album, All or Nothing, you mentioned when I asked you how you came up with the title for that, you mentioned that, you know, you weren't sure how many more albums you were going to put out, so you had to give it all or nothing. And so here we are, 2019, Gold Dust. Tell me about the title. Tell me about putting the album together. Just tell me everything.
Well, you know, Gold Dust was coming on the heels of my last album, obviously, which what came out in, I don't know, like 2.5 years ago, I think, and I had some decent success with that. You know what I mean? Can't Let Go was like, it's like a huge record for me. It became a huge record, and that was like wasn't the last single, but it was the second single, and we put something out to follow that up. But you know, I just felt the pressure to kind of live up to that because, like I said, Can't Let Go was it did really well for me, and I lost my voice as well. You know, the early part of 18, like I had a whole like year span there where I was struggling after losing my voice, and I still haven't gotten back to 100%. But at that point, when I started working on the album, when this whole situation came along, I had 6 weeks to deliver the album.
Wait, 6 weeks?
Yeah, 6 weeks to start, finish, deliver. You know what I'm saying? Everything in between. And so I agreed to that. I signed up for it, knowing, I mean, it's just a part of negotiations. Like we knew when they had an idea when they wanted to put it out. The label, I say they, and I knew that I can make an album like that. When I did the Bobby Womack thing, I did it in less than 3 days. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So,
you're a pro.
Yeah, I am a pro. I really am. Have many years of practice, 2 decades, right? Plus.
Right.
So plus a little bit. So yeah, so when I signed up for that, like I said, I knew I had probably 40% of my vocal ability coming behind the trying to live up to the Can't Let Go, how big that was. And you know, you always want to try to exceed what you did before, you know, and but in order to do that, you know, you still got to be 100%. I would like to have been 100%, but I wasn't. I knew that, and I knew that 6 weeks, you know, from start to finish to deliver an album, that was going to take some dedication and some time and, you know, some commitment. And I had a whole lot. My tour schedule was going crazy at that time, so I was like, I started feeling the pressure. So in the midst of it all, I figured, you know what I'm saying, like they say, pressure bursts pipes. And I said, well, if this pipe bursts, it's going to be filled with gold dust. I want from the first song to the last song to be just great music. You know what I mean?
Well, here's what I know, that album is full of gold because, like, I can't even tell that your voice, like you said, wasn't 100%. You can't tell at all. Like, it sounds like it's 1,000%.
Oh, man. So you good for my ego. I need to keep you around. Can we make this thing last forever?
You know, I'm a former cheerleader. I'm good at
Well, you still cheering me on. Trust me. You still cheer me on. That makes me feel good because like I said, I knew my limits and I can hear it when I listen to it. Like, it's like, you know, it's like anytime I make an album, no matter what, I'm always critiquing myself, even after it's done. I think every artist is like that. You know, you always.
I can relate because, like, I had sinus surgery earlier in the year, and I did the voiceovers again this year for the Hall of Fame, and I could hear that I wasn't 100%, but nobody else seemed to act. At least they acted like they couldn't hear, but I could hear it, and I was happy with it.
Exactly. So you can relate.
Yeah. But I got some cheerleaders that, you know, they're like, girl, you sound amazing. And I'm like, right.
Right, exactly. You need that. You know what I'm saying? You need that sometimes. You know. But yeah, everybody, the album is out there, and, you know, everybody is really, you know, getting some really positive feedback on it, put it like that.
So your music, to me, it soothes the soul, for one. And then it reminds you of, like, just romance. So my question for you is, like, where do you get that inspiration to do music filled with romance?
You're right. Well, you know, I think in my heart of hearts, I think I am really a hopeless romantic. I beyond anything else, I rather any kind of subject, if it come to me being creative and writing about it and acting it out, living it out, it's got to be based around some love, like making people feel love. Because everybody, like, that's something that, you know what I'm saying, that can change the world. It's just a real powerful thing, you know. And I always had that around me, you know, growing up. I always had plenty of it, you know, my mom, you know, just my, you know, my circle, my root, you know what I mean? So, and I know I saw the results firsthand of, you know, like the lack of it as well, as far as from a woman's perspective, because my mom and my dad, it was like, you know, it was just like, it was two, and it should have been one, but, you know, they was always separate. And I seen her go through some things, and, you know, my mom she's still my favorite person on the planet, even though I have kids and all that stuff. Like, she's just, you know what I mean, she's it for me, you know what I'm saying? I really, really, really appreciate what she did for me and my brothers and my sisters and my sister. I ain't got no one. She gonna be like, who? What other word? But yeah, but, you know, I like I said, the lack of, you know, when it comes to relationships, I got to see that from a different side. I guess I pay a little more attention than most kids do growing up, but, you know what I'm saying, like, to the relationship aspect rather than being a kid. So, you know, I really kind of focus on that, you know what I mean? Because I always go out of my way to try to make up for whatever my mom was lacking, try to make her happy, make her smile, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it just kind of carried over, you know, it really carried over into my my position, as far as, like, you know, feeling like I was ordained to be the person to say the things that'll make a woman smile or make them happy or make them feel a certain way. You know what I mean?
It's like that's your ministry. That's what I was thinking when I was listening to the music. I'm like, this is really his ministry.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I've saved, you know, the one thing I'm proud about is, you know, I feel like I'm responsible for a lot of people having good relationships. I've saved some, and, you know, I made people look forward to being in one, you know, being in good relationship, healthy, loving relationship. You know what I mean?
Let me turn your music on again right quick and blast it on the phone when I'm talking to my dude.
Right. So, you know, I'm good at, you know, I say I am today's keeper of yesterday's soul music, and, you know, I don't think that's ever gonna change. Who I am is who I am. That's what I'm always gonna be. I'm good with it.
All right, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the songs in the album, but first, because this is the Mofo Chronicles, and of course this blog started out like about relationships and dating, and it still throws back to that every now and again. But what makes us, like, in your opinion, what makes a successful relationship?
I think respect, mutual respect for one another. I think it starts, I mean, obviously you start off with an attraction, a physical attraction, right? Mm-hmm. And anybody, you can have that with anybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
That don't necessarily breed a relationship, a healthy relationship. I think, you know, respect, and you got to start with that. And then, you know, as feelings grow, you know, if it turn into love or what, then you definitely gotta have that for one another. But I think, you know, amongst everything, I think they say women need love, men need respect. But I think the whole relationship needs respect in order for it to work.
Absolutely. That's what I always say, a mutual love and respect. Like, it's got to go both ways.
It's got to go both ways.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's get into the music. Tell me about the current single, Let Me Love on You.
I think, you know, it's for me, I think everybody needs love, everybody wants it. You can never overlove somebody and run them away, you know, so but you can love them enough to keep them, you know what I'm saying? And so I feel like, you know, it's very important to love on someone. I think that's a very important key to keeping a relationship and keeping your mate happy, is just loving on them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it don't necessarily have to be a physical thing. You know what I mean? Although that's part of it. You know,
you gotta show love in other ways, right?
Right. In so many other ways. You know, it's the way you talk to somebody, the way you look at them, the way that you make them feel when you come around. You know what I'm saying? And just being considerate of them, like being thoughtful enough to, you know, pick up the phone and call and say, hi, how your day going? Or, you know, being concerned, having compassion for that person. That's, to me, that's a form of loving on them. So I'm Calvin Richardson, right? We still talk about the same guy that, you know, feel like I was ordained to make people feel good and make them, you know, feel valued. So that's where that song come from. Okay.
What about the song Be Your Friend?
Be Your Friend. That's one of my friends, Tyler, right there. Oh man, kill that. But Be Your Friend, Theodis Ealey. I don't know if you know who Theodis Ealey is. He's a blues singer. He's an older guy. He made a song called Stand Up In It. A lot of people would know if they know anything about blues. And Theodis Ealey, he did that song called Stand Up In It. Okay. And he, years ago, like my paths crossed, because, you know, as you know, I work the blues scene, I work the Southern Soul scene, I work the R&B scene, I work the whatever.
Right.
Calvin Richardson, I'm genre-less, because it don't matter to me. I can work them all. And I met Theodis, you know, probably about 10 years ago. And I think at least 5 of those years, if I go back in reverse, he's been telling me about this song. Okay. That he felt like I was the right person to do the song. He couldn't do it. He said he could have done it, I'm sure, but it was a different type of vibe. Okay. And he sent it over to me about 2 or 3 years ago, and I was like, yeah, just email it over. Let me listen to it. And I just didn't feel like I was ready to go there at that particular time. Because now it totally evolved. Like, if you hear the original song, it sounds nothing like what it is now. Oh, wow. We reproduced it and brought it up to, you know, today's soul R&B ish. And I had to, you know, pull out my pen and do some writing on it as well. But not that it wasn't a great song. It was a great song. But Theotis, he came up with that. And, you know, I'm just a vessel. You know what I'm saying? It don't necessarily the music. I don't have to write it all. You know what I mean? I'm cool if it comes from somebody. And if I feel it and I feel like there's something in it that'll make you feel good, you know, and a lot of other people, you know, on a grander scale, then I'll do it.
So one of the songs that I really like on the album, of course, I love the whole album, but this one kind of stood out. Never Do You Wrong. Tell me about that one.
Well, that particular song right there, I really like that song too. I didn't start out as a writer on that song either. That song was brought to me by a good friend of mine by the name Omar Cunningham. He is a Southern soul artist as well. He knew this producer out in Jackson, Mississippi. He knew the producer and Jonte, the female that's singing on it. It was a whole record already, and just sent it to me, and I was like, man, I really like it. I really like it. He was like, yeah, I think where you are, it really fits. And I said, yeah. And I was thinking about, you know, when it was presented to me, it wasn't to keep the Jonte on it singing. Mm-hmm. You know, I was gonna do something different. I had another person in mind that I was gonna do the song with, but I just really loved her. Huh? Well, see, hey, you keep on running from me every time I ask you to sing. But nah, she but I listened to it. I went on vacation with my family and stuff. Went down to where did I go? I went to Florida to Disney World, and I listened to it those few days that I was there. And the more I listened to it, the more I liked her voice on the song. Mm-hmm. And because it wasn't a duet at first, it was just her going straight singing the song. Okay. And I was like, man, I love her tone, I love her delivery, but you know, I gotta find some space on here for me, and I had to pull out my pen as well in order to make me fit in there. So it's just one of them things that I felt like, see, you like it. You know what I mean? I knew people would love it because, you know, because of the message in the song. And, you know, that's substance is always at the top of my list as well when you create.
Absolutely. And then I have to ask about this because at first when I saw the title, I was like,
I already know where you're going.
Yeah. Macaroni and cheese.
I already knew it. That's one that piques most people's interest on the album. Macaroni and cheese is just a fun. So I said this guy Dre Heard, the producer, he was on Facebook Live producing. He get on there. He produced live, and I had never seen him before. I had never met him or anything, but I was told, you know, alerted about him as well from Omar. Me and Omar is really good friends, and so I got on Facebook one day, and I was going through my timeline, and the dude was on there. He was playing live, creating the track, and that was the particular track that he was producing. So I stopped and I just sent him a message like, man, I want that track. You know, it felt kind of Southern soulish, mm-hmm. And I know Calvin Richardson is not Southern soul, but I make a lot of money out here working on them in the market. You know what I mean? I have a huge fan base out here that's of the Southern soul, me being on the big Southern soul shows. So I'm like, I ain't never did a Southern soul record, and I'm not gonna make one, but that is something that they definitely gonna be able to relate to the way the music is. But then I was like, Macaroni Cheese, I ain't have no subject, but you know, I think over in that particular genre, we joke about this all the time. In order to make a record work over there, a song work over there, the only thing you got to have is a hook, they say, and a juke. So it's something that they can, you know, relate to, and something they can move to, you know what I mean? Right. Something that'll catch them, that's kind of catchy, the catchphrase. And I was like, you know, macaroni cheese, everybody know about macaroni and cheese, you know? Velveeta made that macaroni, but that just macaroni and cheese popular just the saying alone. But, you know, that's also, you know, a part of all of our, I know how to eat well as well. That's not necessarily eating well, but, you know, that's how we grew up on, you know, macaroni cheese, all those things I listed out in the song. So I figured I'd just make the song fun, make it about that, you know, make it a metaphor about, you know, a woman being that to me. I'd be her macaroni and she could be my cheese, you know what I mean? Right. Everybody loves it. It's just a fun song. It's a fun song, and I love it. Like that's like the #1 song right now that people coming back saying that they just love that song, and you know, amongst many, but off the new album, like that song gets a lot of mentions.
Okay. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit because we got to talk about the book.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out when you had the time to be touring, writing a book, doing this album, like the title of the book is Do You Without Them, which to me that is a mantra in itself. Right. But first of all, tell me how you found the time to do all this, and then tell me a little bit about the book.
Well, it took me two and a half years to do it. You know what I'm saying? I started doing it a little bit at a time, you know what I mean? But I lived it first anyhow, so it was just reflecting really and just, and figuring out what exactly part of my story I wanted to tell, you know what I mean? And dissecting it to the point where, like, okay, let's kind of just stay focused. Don't get off into one thing too far, too deep, because that would have prolonged it. But, I've been asked many times, that just being in the business for so long, by a lot of people who come up and ask how I got where I am and how can they get in the business, what's the easiest way to do this and that. So I figured out what I would do is rather than individualizing it, and every time I turn around, I gotta, try to, answer that question.
Right.
And if they reach out to me on social media, a lot of times I can't put all that down, you know what I mean? Tell them. So I'm like, I'm just going to write a book, which is going to chronicle my entry, everything in between, mm-hmm. to how I found the success, what I call success today, this position that I'm in. And I did it. I found the success that I have. You've been around me a long time. Right. I did it without having the things that most people that have found success in the business had to have in order to have success. I did it without that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I kind of built my own machine in a sense. I kind of created my own lane, my own genre, so to speak. And so going through there, and just rising, becoming from a young man, a young boy to a grown man, to you acquire a lot of knowledge. It's like I paid. It's like college. I have a full college degree in this, master's and whatever you want to call it, a PhD. You know what I'm saying? And so like just a lot of my knowledge, I just dropped it. Would put it in there, different things. You know what I'm saying, that would encourage people to, if you have a dream, like you never, your dream would never die unless you put it down and stop working towards it, because you'll never accomplish it if you don't. So I just wanted to be, I feel like I am an example of that, like I said, being put in the position that I was in, and to have to never say never and have to, keep working the way that I worked. And I, eventually found the position that I'm in. I'm a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? I have so many awards that it's crazy, like, but I've been recognized on a lot of different levels, and it didn't come from, it wasn't easy, but at the same time, it's not as hard or as difficult as some would think. So I just put it in a book.
Okay. Yeah. I think I first heard about you, like, it was in Asheville. You were performing at Bell Share, and right. That was like 2002, 2003. Right. And so, yeah, I've seen your journey, and yeah. It's amazing and inspiring because, and this interview is full circle because you were actually the first person I interviewed for like an online, I think it was for Charlotte Vibe. That was really the first time I really decided, like, let me just try my hand at doing interviews, see what happens.
We have history, huh?
Right? Now look, I got a YouTube channel.
Exactly. I'm proud of you too. Congratulations.
Thank you. See, I told the people we were friends. So just so right.
They know. They don't know. Now they know.
Exactly. All right. So to wrap this up, tell everybody where they can buy the book, where they can get the album, and where to find you on social media.
Okay. Of course, you can get the book on Amazon. .com, or you can go to the CalvinRichardsExperience.org. You can order it there. You can go to Sunbury, which is a publisher. Sunbury, you can go to their site and you can order it from there. But it's a lot quicker to get it from Amazon or from me. Not to try to cut the publisher out, you know what I mean? But because they are the source, so it's still gonna come through there. So everything is good, but it takes it's a longer process. I don't know why that is, but it is.
Okay, where can we get the album?
The album, you can get the albums from iTunes, Apple Music, Walmart, Calvin Richardson. You can go to that same site, the CalvinRichardsonExperience.org, if you want to get a personally signed CD autographed. You can get that on my site, the CalvinRichardsonExperience.org. And yeah, if I'm live at a show, I have all of that stuff. I have all of the product, T-shirts, all that stuff.
Okay.
I'm a Hall of Famer. If you want, I'm a Hall of Famer T-shirt. Hey, you might not be a Hall of Famer, but you can represent for one. You know.
Exactly. They can always go to the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame and get a T-shirt from there, and then maybe bring it to your show and get you to sign it.
That too. Yeah, they can do that. I have no problem with that. Hey, the Hall of Fame. Hey, that's my everybody over there. They're my friend. That whole organization over there. I love it. So whatever. It's all good.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Calvin, for joining me. You guys, that is Calvin Richardson. And I will put all the links that he was talking about down below so you can make sure you get the book and the album. And, make sure that you support him because he is amazing and has been in the business 2 decades plus some.
Let's just stop at two decades. How about that?
All right. Thank you for joining me, Calvin.
I appreciate you having me.